Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer reaction. A new trailer dropped yesterday. We're going to react to it very quickly and give you our thoughts. But I want to tell you before we watch it, I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan because I'm a fan of a lot of things, but a lot of these things I saw when I was a kid, so they've imprinted on me. So the Planet of the Apes films, I saw the first movie and it scared the living hell out of me for a couple of reasons. One, that this world was topsy-turvy with humans being the subservient species to advanced civilization of apes. That was frightening to me. The second thing was the way that Charlton Heston swore, "You get your hands off me, you goddamned dirty ape." And I remember when I was a kid, when I would ever hear the words "goddamn," I would like just say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I always felt like this weird, like something was going to happen to me if somebody said, you could say fuck, you could say shit, whatever, but you say goddamn. Goddamn was like the worst thing you could say. And Charlton Heston says it several times in the movie. He's also, if you look back on that movie, he's stripped naked, humiliated, he's whipped. It's like partly it's like a Makee Assad like fetish BDSM scene, part of what it is. And we did an article later in Film Threat on that. I hired a dominatrix to review, this is an old issue of Film Threat, hired a dominatrix to review Planet of the Apes and point out all the weird fetish stuff in it. And what's unusual is none of the other Planet of the Apes movies had that. And when I was a kid, I remember my mom and dad took me to the drive-in to see A Dusk Till Dawn. It was a screening of all 5 Planet of the Apes movies at the time. They started with Planet of the Apes. I think I fell asleep around Escape, kind of woke up during Conquest. But I saw all 5 of those movies at a drive-in when I was a kid. And I remember the sun coming out. It was morning and we had just seen Battle for the Planet of the Apes, but it was all 5 movies in a row. It was fantastic. And I'll never forget that memory as a kid seeing it. So I've been a longtime fan of Planet of the Apes.
Didn't Rod Serling write the first one?
He was involved in the writing of the first one. He came up with the twist ending with the Statue of Liberty, just destroyed.
Yeah. Buried in the ocean. Basically.
Buried partially. Yeah. It was just crazy. That ending is one of the greatest endings ever. And then even the ending of Beneath Planet of the Apes, when you see that, like, it's Orson Welles' voice telling you the world is destroyed, that scared the living hell out of me. And then they found a way to continue the series where they escape, which was like a low budget version where Cornelius and Zira and Milo, they go back in time, and they're the ones that create this loop because their son becomes Caesar, which is a talking ape, a more advanced ape that then unites the apes, which are effectively slaves. It's so, each one of those movies, with the exception of Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is kind of cheesy. But those 4 Planet of the Apes movies were just exceptional writing. And yes, you look back and the makeup effects are kind of fanciful. They
were pretty awesome in the 70s.
They were awesome in the 70s. Now you've recreated it with these digital monkeys. I'm not entirely sold. Yeah. I think they're okay. They're fine, but I'm not in love with the new trilogy. Well, this is the continuation of that, my understanding. Let's watch the trailer. And I told you it was going to be a big show today. I told you it was going to be a big show. So let's watch the trailer now for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
When I sleep, I see strange things.
Memories?
Not memories. New things. I see everything.
That is not everything. What a wonderful day!
Why does it feel like a cartoon to me? Oh, you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
Here's the problem. It sounds like I mute myself because I don't want the sound.
Yeah.
Um, it still looks digital to me. I'm sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
some of it.
It's a cartoon. That's the first thing and it's animated and it feels over exaggerated.
Right.
It doesn't. They went too far in terms of trying to make them expressive, and
Right.
it just feels it doesn't feel authentic at that point.
No, it doesn't feel authentic. But what's interesting is what they've gotten to now is they've actually gotten to they've gotten to sort of where they were with, the original Planet of the Apes. They've caught up. This integration of more primitive humans, right? You've got more primitive humans, and then you've got advanced apes. So they've sort of caught up to the very first Planet of the Apes movies with Charlton Heston, I guess.
So were they in the original? Were they in suspended animation, or did they?
They were in
some kind
suspended in the original movie. They were in suspended animation. They ended up going to the year 3000 something. I forget it, but it's actually on the monitor. They brought a woman with them, and there were 3 different men, right?
Yeah.
And a woman. And the idea was to populate another planet. That was the mission, was to find another planet in another galaxy and repopulate it so that humankind could spread throughout the galaxy. That was the original mission, right? So I know it sounds weird, but these 3 men were going to procreate with one woman. That was the concept. They don't go into a lot of detail in it, but they end up crash landing back on Earth, right? But they're in the future. They are in the future. But ironically, what happens? The woman, it was a crack in her case, and she died. Probably should have had maybe more women on that trip. Just a thought. But I'm curious to see kind of like what they end up doing with this. How much this connects to? How does this connect to the other Planet of the Apes movies? Is this the 4th one now? Is this where we are? What are your thoughts, Alan, based on seeing?
Oh man, I mean, I think this series started well with what was it? Battle. King. No, what was the Franco one?
It was Rise and Dawn, but I always
Rise and Dawn. It seemed like a good start there, and I think, I don't know. It just I think we're at the point where this franchise is kind of, it's just considered a cash cow now. They're just going to do it, and of course now Disney is behind this one, and it's just I look at that trailer and I think about how well Avatar, how much better Avatar does it better. Creating this animated world that incorporates humans here and there, but gives us performances at least that feel, somewhat authentic considering what we're watching. I think it'd be interesting if this was the lead into maybe rebooting the original, bringing, having people who are in the present now move forward to this time. But you just get the sense they're going to screw all that up anyways.
All I can say is, I'll see it because I'm an old school Planet of the Apes fan, so I'm going to see it regardless.
It's kind of our job too. So
yeah, but I'm not super excited. I feel like they did those 3 and that was enough. They didn't need to do more. So
wait, here's the thing. Based on what we saw, what's the general plot?
Well, we don't know. There's no
story. What's the struggle? What's the conflict of this movie? All they did was they basically, put us in the world that we're already familiar with, and created. There's a conflict well, what's the nature of that conflict?
Correct.
What's exciting me to want to see it? Right now, all this is, it's another chapter of a story that we just don't know. They're not selling us as to why we need to watch this specific story.
Of a story that will never end at this point.
Mhm.
So you know what? I'm mildly interested, but I can't say that trailer got me excited. It looks very pretty, and I will definitely press start on that video game, but I need to know if I'm going to see a movie, that this is a movie and not some better version of a tech demo, because I don't know, I'm getting PS5 vibes.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Let's just say that as pretty as it is, I'm not impressed with the animation at all.
All right, well, that's
Much
fair.
more impressed with previous versions, not this one.
That's fair.